Welcome in, everyone. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here, Jon here. It's another trip around the sun. We're just going through the motions right now here on the show. DC United appear to be going through the motions as well. Yeah, man, it's been not great, guys. This isn't fun. This isn't enjoyable. This is not where I think any of us thought we would be mid-season.
Really, we should right now talk about the gluttons for punishment that are both us for doing this show, but all of you people who are still listening through this. I have to say, I appreciate it. I wouldn't do it if I were you. I'm glad you're still doing it, though. It is good that you're doing it. Please don't stop. But it's a struggle right now. It's a real tough one.
We are Matthew McConaughey banging on the library books while I'm literally sending the message to Jon while driving to, I think, one of my classes when I was going back to school, and being like, hey, man, it would be fun if we did a DC United podcast. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yep.
And Jon was like, yeah, that would be great.
And then future you is saying, no, go back. Don't do it. Join Elliot. Do the Kickers podcast. You'll have more fun. That's a fact.
It's okay. I am here, buddy. I am here.
We're in it together, baby.
Man, childhood bonds are still.
Go ahead.
You know what? I had a. So there's a friend of mine, longtime DC United supporter, drove up to many games. He has a son, and they were saying at the Kickers game, and they were talking about how his son is still so hopeful. Like he still has hope for this team. And my response is, man, I get it, man. You. And here's the thing, like I'm not dissing anybody who came into this adulthood, Jon. I'm not dissing you. But let me just tell you that, like, childhood attachments that you gain when you're a kid to a team, they really do die hard, and it takes a lot to kill it, because it's the only thing you've done since you were like 8, 9, 10 years old, which is in my case.
You should not be saying I'm no offense. You should be saying, actually, you're a Superman. To come into this as a fully formed adult, only witness losing, spend all of your money, all of your time following the stupid team, get a tattoo of this stupid team, and still be here. I think I'm kind of
fair enough.
I think I should be in some sort of medical literature as some sort of freak of nature in a positive way. But that aside, how was your weekend?
It was good, man. I went to got to see the Ivy. I feel like I'm spending like so much time at City Stadium.
It's great. Good for you. Do it.
And it's great. No, it's great. I love live soccer. I love going. But there is this is like stormy weather. And this was the first moment I was like, man, it's going to rain. Should I go? Of course I went. I still had a good time. It actually was very nice. It rained for a little bit. Kind of a nice little cooling shower. It was extremely hot. Someone decided it was a smart idea to schedule the ECNL Richmond United team friendlies in the morning. And it was very hot, to say the least. It was extremely hot. Then it cooled off nice, and I got to see a team win. Then I was like, I rushed home to turn on DC to do my due diligence, and watched that pile of garbage.
It was a yin and yang situation for you.
It was. How was your weekend, my friend?
It was good. Father's Day is always fun. More fun now. I got to spend time with my daughter. She was enjoyable. I bought a Switch too, and got Street Fighter. And I didn't anticipate that this was going to be her favorite activity of all time, and it is. And also, I got to tell you, at medium difficulty, you can be a 5-year-old and win 80% of the time, just to throw that out there. So if you are like me and felt kind of good, like I'm rolling right into this game at medium and I'm crushing, I guess I should level up. I should, because a 5-year-old is beating medium level pretty much every time. So there is that. But I had a really good weekend. I cannot complain. I went to, I have a trainer that I go to very, very rarely today. And I did bench for the first time since I think probably the second Bush administration. So it's been a little bit of a time, and I'm very sore, but it was good. I'm a happy camper, except for the soccer. But the good thing is, we have a bit of senioritis going on right now, because we have a break coming. You're gonna get a little break from listening to us,
yes, for
a couple weeks, and we are gonna enjoy it. We're gonna enjoy it. But one thing I wanted to loop back to, Ted, when we were talking about we're in this. Our relationship is longer than most people's longest relationships, like in life. We have been doing this for a very, very long time. So it's something. We are stuck. We are like bonded. Like when you spin two pieces of plastic together really fast and they fuse together, they cut like a hot weld. That's us now. We're stuck. we're doing this until, I don't know, until MLS folds. I don't know. We're just kind of stuck here.
We're attached at the hip, basically.
Yeah, purgatory.
We're attached at
And
the hip.
anytime we go somewhere, someone that we don't know will ask if we're brothers or related in some way.
And just so people don't think that I'm a terrible son, I did hang out with my father. That was last weekend. So we did the Father's Day. So I called him on Sunday, wished him a happy Father's Day, did the thing. So people don't think I'm a terrible father. You get to enjoy the perks of being a father on Father's Day.
But you also get into the situation where you're saying, well, whose day is this for? Is it for me? Is it for him? And it's a struggle. I think I'm going down to see him on Wednesday. So he's having a delayed Father's Day. I got to experience it on the day.
There you go. All right, let's talk about this terrible team.
Are we avoiding talking about this? I don't know. It's hard to say. Who can say? Not me.
More enjoyable to talk about our lives right now than this team. DC United 2-0 loss to RSL. Just kind of very much was 7-1 Chicago was terrible. Maybe I started to kind of justify it to I was like, well, they had a whole bunch of players out. I said on the last show, I was like, really, I'm not mad at the players, not mad at the coaching. I'm mad, the organization in general, just for agreeing to play this game. But I came in Saturday. I was like, well, maybe, usually this team seems to put together a response. They kind of come together, and that did not happen. There was a lot of changes to the lineup, several changes. Randall Leal making a start. Pirani's still out there. Pirani looked like good old starting Pirani. He's back.
Hey, who could have foreseen that? I don't know. Not me. Not certainly me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, the one thing you can describe this performance is that it was average. It was a completely, utterly average, uninteresting performance, and that's really the problem right now with the team is they're not interesting. They are like I've said, they're a average to above average team. I mean, I think I see a 1.86, 1.56 expected goals sort of given up. That's not awful. That's certainly not fantastic, but you can get around that. But just the lack of chances they generated, no real chances of note. A couple moments in the first 13 minutes where you're thinking, okay, maybe Leal can put one together. This is the nature of this team right now. It is a just helplessly average team, and if all 11 players put in an average performance, they're going to lose every single game. That happens. They sometimes get players to step up. Against Cincinnati, Pirani stepped up. He looked great. He cannot do that consistently. Other teams with better talent, when they have average performances, they sometimes pull out results. They pull out wins. They pull out draws. We are not talented enough to do that. There is no power of friendship running through this team at this point. It just looks average, and you want to say, will it get better? I mean, sure, of course it will get better. It can't get really much worse right about now. But this team really does feel like they're stuck in neutral until there's some sort of shift in the summer. And that's maybe the most frustrating thing, is that there's nothing to cling to. There's no rumor mill spinning. There's no player out there that's been leaked. So we're kind of stuck with what is an average team.
An average team that making Johnny Russell look about 5 years younger on his goal. That was cool.
Yeah.
And a team that, if you were to look at the average MLS fan and say, could you name me 3 players that start for RSL on a weekly basis? I think it'd struggle. I think you might get 2. I think the sickos might get 3 or 4, but that's just I would say in a good year, we struggle I think they said this at the beginning, we don't do well in Sandy, Utah. We didn't do well in whatever stadium it was called when they played in Utah's football stadium. We just suck in Utah. We have even when our teams were good. So it was always going to be rough. But this team had, outside of a few opportunities at the beginning of the game, looked entirely toothless for 70 plus minutes of the game. Barraza is the only player who did things that were slightly interesting and saved a couple that 2-0 does not do justice to the advantage that RSL pressed the entire time. Yeah. It felt like Bartlett and Kyralls were just constantly running over, balls going over their shoulder and them just running, or there being opportunities in the box where no one was in rest defense at any point.
Yeah, they made Xavier Gozo or Gazo. I'm not sure. I have to look back at the exact pronunciation. 18 years old, steps onto the field and just blitzes DC, scores a goal, gets his first goal. Congrats to him. Just threads that line very, and I think a lot of people kind of look at this and look at the defense. Yeah, the defense gave up 2 goals. They were on a knife's edge the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
If you cannot, and this is the problem with this team, and people, it might be easy to look. It really might be easy to look at the defense, but if you're just so toothless in the attack, inability to control in midfield, inability to do anything to keep a team honest, you're going to have the team push the game higher, and you're going to put more pressure on your defense to make plays. I mean, this team, the Real Salt Lake in the stats generated. Let's see, what were the? I mean, just go look at the shot map. Look at how much this team was just peppered.
20 shots.
Yeah, time in 20 shots. 6 were on target. DC had 1 shot that was on target. I can't even recall what that shot was. That's, to me, this is not a problem. The defense is not elite. I'm not saying they're secretly elite or anything, but they are not the problem with this team right now. The problem with this team is their inability right now, unless there is Christian Benteke or Joao Pedro out there. They have an inability to really threaten anybody, and right now they're hurt. And I really do. I have to feel like this is this was a moment for somebody else to step up, and maybe with Sans Pirani in that 2-1 victory over Cincy, really no one else stepped up. And that game had Peglo in it as well, and then he gets hurt. So yeah,
Benteke's on vacation right now, by the way.
Yeah,
posting on Instagram. I don't blame him. Why would he not be? By the way, the shot on goal was a header by Dominique Baggi in the 52nd minute. That was directly into the middle of the net for a 0.1 xG opportunity. We'll take it.
Better than something.
Better than 0 shots. It's 100% better than 0 shots.
Yeah, I mean, but this is, there isn't much really more to say about this team. They get They get a 2-week break. Hopefully that allows some people to get healthy. Maybe they can get some of the other players back into the lineup. Finally, maybe get a run out of Joao Pedro, who, has been good, but also been hurt. Like, he keeps picking up these kind of, niggling injuries that keep him out for 2-3 weeks. So I fully expected that they were just like with Benteke, they were just like, look, like, just, we're going to hold you out till the break. We'll reset. We've got the Open Cup. That's what matters right now. None of this other stuff really matters at this point. Oh, wow. Nope. That was short. Anything else you want to talk about?
No Gavin Turner this week. Christian Fletcher continues to be a complete non-factor off the bench. Kind of unfortunate. We were wondering what kind of spark he could provide. The answer right now is currently with the rest of this team, the way it is built and put together, the answer is none. Not really doing much of anything. I would say, go ahead.
I will contend, I don't know if that's a reflection of him necessarily, or just how kind of a mess everything is. I don't know if you put him out there with some better talent, maybe he starts to shine a little bit.
Hopefully, because there's not. I mean, because we're counting on a number 10 DP to like set this team all of a sudden into being a chance creating dangerous attacker. So we're clearly more than one player that can make a difference away. I mean, that's obvious. I think neither of us are arguing that. Yeah. So we've got a lot of questions. Not a lot, but we've got some questions. We've got an audio thing to play again. So that's a reminder again, if you're listening and you want to be on the show and you have something to say, rfkrefugees@gmail.com. But let's start that now. We've got a clip from Patrick, who had shared quite a lot of thoughts. So we'll see how this goes.
Hey guys, this is Patrick. I apologize because I feel like that this is coming a week late, although realistically the RSL game was not grand in any way, shape, or form. So those feelings are probably still resonant. So what I'm about to say probably will not come as any big surprise. I will throw out that I'm going to agree with Carlton from last week, and I'm not agreeing with him because we're buddies on Facebook. But overall, his sentiments of disappointment are the ones that I am feeling as well. I can't remember who said it last week, whether it was John or Ted, but there was some discussion around the idea that people are spending their time and their money, and essentially there needs to be a product. Now, to be clear for myself, if I saw these guys playing good soccer and the results were just not there, then at least there's that. And, then you could kind of make the argument, go, back and forth. But that is not what I'm seeing. There are other teams in MLS when I watch these games, and I'm just like, we are nowhere. We're not even in the same parking lot as these guys. So for myself, I live 45 minutes away to the nearest metro. Then it's another 45 minutes to metro into the city and walk to Audi Field, and then having to go back and do it and back again. That for me is an investment in time as well as money. And what I'm seeing on the field, frankly, is not worth my time. So right after the Chicago game, I emailed my rep and I said, okay, that's it. I'm good. Do not renew me for next year. I'm done. Then promptly emailed the Washington Spirit and asked them to give me a call so that we could start talking about season ticket packages and see what that looks like. Now, I know I'm just one person and it probably won't matter. And I really don't see things changing or being any different until the supporters groups get involved and just basically walk away. Frankly, I don't think that they're going to do that. So again, for myself, I'll just do it for them and I'll spend my money and my time better somewhere else. So that's it. That's my 2 cents on things. I really appreciate what you guys do and the work that you put into what you do, your opinions and your analysis and everything that you bring to it, and the fact that you keep coming back and that you keep doing it. It is very, very much appreciated. So keep it up. Thanks.
I was going to bust his balls for going 3 minutes, and then he said nice things about us. So at the end, you can be as long as you want, as long as you end with telling us that we're very smart. We're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like his sentiments are very much what a lot of people feel. It's like, I think that game, I don't know if it'll do a lot of damage. I don't know if the damage they thought would be completely, I don't know, short-lived. I don't know if they think like, oh, once the team starts winning, people will get over it. I mean, they're banking a lot on the fact that this is the direction they want to go down, and this is like the correct path. And I think from a lot of us, this game just felt, that game 7-1, the 7-1 loss, and we're still talking about it a couple weeks later. It just felt like almost just like a complete like collapse of any semblance, and everybody was kind of holding on, I guess, to a thread in this idea that, okay, new direction, new front office ownership, this is going to get better. And also, I want to state, Alan McKay's been a little silent, and I think this would be a moment. I think he's really kind of missing the moment here, that we have not heard from him. We haven't heard him reach out to anybody. I guess who would we reach out to? Stephen Golf, I guess.
He should talk to us. I think he should. He's a listener. He should talk to us.
Yeah, he should. And, maybe that's something we can, I think that's something that fans want to hear right now. This is the guy who was brought in to be the person who was going to put together, going to rebuild this team. He was going to commit to something. My hope is that the ownership, if they do one thing right, is that they see this through. And at this point, I think you have to, even if it doesn't work, even if it completely bombs, at least you saw something through. You gave, and maybe it didn't work, and then you have to kind of start over. But I don't know.
You're seeing the doomed relationship to its bitter end.
Exactly.
whatever that end looks like.
Exactly.
Next listener question. This is from David. I think long-time listener, pretty sure. Hey, Ted and Jon, just listen to your great show. Again, great way to get on the show is to tell us we're good. Listen to your great show where you took comments and questions from listeners. I share so many of the sentiments expressed being a fan since 1997. You touched on the news conference where Ali McKay was joined by Jason Leffian, and that to one of you, can't remember which, I think it was Ted, there was a sign that there wasn't complete confidence in McKay. Maybe that was me. I don't know. That makes sense because at the time he had been an underling on the Nashville staff. Also, Dave Casper was kept on in an advising role, we were told, to me, that also flagged a lack of confidence in Mackay. Well, here we are a couple years later. One of you mentioned that Casper is a thing of the past or no longer has a role. I'm sure you've been told as much by the team at some point in time, but he still appears on the website as a senior consultant. Who the heck knows how deep his involvement is? But seriously, why is he still on the payroll? Has he overseen what may be the most losses over any 10-year span in the league? Or he has. Not a question, that is a fact, he's saying. He has been with the club for 12 consecutive seasons without a trophy. What is he doing with the club, and why should we believe them when he say he plays no meaningful role? Fans deserve to see change and should have seen his full and complete departure long ago. What do you think, David? I will say this. The first thing I will say is do not take the DCUnited.com website to mean anything of any kind, because I'm pretty sure Jared Jeffrey is still listed on the club roster as a U.S. domestic player. I know for sure that Jeremy Garay was on there like a month ago. So put that in one bucket. Other bucket, why did they not, to steal a phrase from the Speaker of the House, why did they not tar and feather this man and get him completely out of Washington? I don't know. Would that have felt good for me and you to have been talking about it for so long? Yes. A pound of flesh would have been wonderful. I think that is for certain. All we can say is what we have been told, not us personally, but what people who have been close to the team have been told, is he does not factor in at all. There was maybe a contract thing where they wanted to keep him aboard and just pay him out, and he's just basically, an emeritus professor just hanging out. I don't even think, probably doesn't even go to the office. Chad Ashton, by the way, had showed up last year in some pictures, so he's still hanging around. But I don't think he's impacting the team. I think people they want to externalize the blame for this club to find some sort of boogeyman that is an old one, so they don't have to think about the fact that the new ones aren't delivering. And I think that's part of this. Dave Casper has hurt us in the past. He's not hurting us. He's not hurting us now. What we are now is a result of ownership, of the choices that Ally Mackay has made, the choices that Troy Lesane has made as a coach, and then their performance of the players. That's where we're at. Those are the faulty parts of the team.
Yeah, I mean it's ownership. Anyone that sits here, the reasoning is, of course, that Dave Casper. I feel like we talk about what this ownership is, and this ownership is cheap in certain ways, but maybe not in other ways. Certainly in roster spend, they do step up and they do spend, despite what some people might think. Notwithstanding right now about the DP situation, the DP situation is a clear choice from Ally Mackay that he thought he could sort of maybe ride Benteke for a little bit. They'd stay alive, and then he make a big splash in the summer, and then make another splash, again next year, and this would be kind of like a rocket ship to propel this team. This was a clear choice, a clear strategy call from Ally Mackay. This was, I feel like, almost a move from him to get away from Casper and to sort of signal that Casper is no longer running the show. I fully think Casper would have kept Click. He's the one who helped bring him in initially. There seemed to be a big message that Mackay wanted to send this year about Casper not being involved. Why is he on the club? I think what we've learned, if we've learned anything from DC, is unless a guy is so toxic like Hernan Losada, unless a guy is so completely just like not really an invested member of the club, they see this as, well, we'll just pay out a salary. It's less. We get to Klarna it, basically. We get to just sort of pay it all the way out, and we don't have to drop a big sum of money to do this. And maybe he's useful. I don't know, Mackay. Here, you can knock on his door if you've got a question about maybe how does this GM work, or what are things you found successful with making a trade with this GM. What players, blah blah blah. Work the spreadsheets. Maybe they feel like there's some use there. They're writing out his contract. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. I think there's also something to be said. It really does seem like that ownership feels like they owe the guys who were kind of there during the RFK days when this team did not have, look at what happened. And arguably the same thing happened with Ben Olsen. They did not fire Ben Olsen. Well, they took him off.
Eventually did.
They took him off the first team coaching duties, but they still had a contract with him, I think, for a year. And so they just kept him in the office. They paid out his contract. It was very, very clear from his painting and his interviews that he had very little, if any, say in the team. And then once that ran out, once he caught a little break, he collected himself. He then, moved on to Houston. So they did the same thing with Olsen. They did the same thing with Dave Casper. It's just how they operate. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a terrible thing to do. I don't think anybody should lose their job or should, really be. And I think what we're learning now is that it really is like we thought once Casper was maybe gone that maybe the team would have like a central focus or direction. And I think what we're learning is maybe there is like a commitment and maybe there is, but there is clearly like some cold feet from ownership where they have no problem pointing in another direction, or when they see something that they think will work, they're not going to like listen to their GM. They're going to go out on their own way. And that's shown with the Pogba thing. It's exactly like, this is exactly what we hated so much about the ownership. It was just like jumping off these different waves, not committing to something. But
the wild thing about the Pogba thing is that had the reporting not been done, because he was probably never going to come here anyway, but we got to find out that he's still pulling that that he's still freelancing when it suits him and he thinks that he can make a deal and make a splash. So I think that was really instructive, and I'm glad that was the case. Like, it shows who we still are at heart, despite the change in the philosophy and saying we're sticking to a plan. Like when a pretty girl still walks by, we're gonna whistle. Apparently, no matter what we've said we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Next question. This is actually a bunch of questions. Is it a bunch of questions in one? No. Oh, it's a math question. This is from Joe. If you had to break down DC United's further decline since the end of the Olsen era by percentages, what numbers would you assign to the following? Number one, and this is over multiple coaches. Number one, coaching acumen or lack thereof between Rooney, Losada, and Lassane. 2, poor/lack of investment from ownership, specifically regarding the roster, not infrastructure. 3, poor coordination decision-making from the front office regarding signings. 4, underutilized academy path to pro pipeline. Number 5, other miscellaneous. So I'll go first because I have it in front of me. I would say, if I had to do math, I would say 30% poor coordination and decision-making from the front office regarding signings. I would say 20% lack of investment from lack of underutilizing their academy and path to pro pipeline. So that gives me 50%. 25% coaching acumen, lack thereof. If you look at Rooney and Losada, they are not in football right now. One of them is doing analysis. The other one coached a team that doesn't exist anymore. So that's that. And Troy is Troy. That gets me to 75, and that leaves poor lack of investment from ownership, specifically regarding the roster and other miscellaneous. I'll say all remaining chips to the lack of investment from ownership. We are signing players. We're paying transfer fees. It's not what it could be. It's not what maybe it should be. It's not what we'd like to see. But it is more than it was in the past for the most part. So that's so I don't know if you wrote those down, but that's kind of I would say mostly it's about bad coordination from the front office and sticking to having a cohesive plan that sticks out for more than a year at a time.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump up. I'm gonna say 50% poor coordination and decision making. I've said this for years. This team, and this all leads to. I think this is all the primary cause of the underutilized academy and Oath to Pipeline. Poor investment specifically from regarding roster. I'll include infrastructure in that regard as well, and the coaching acumen or who you've been able to bring in as a coach. All of those decisions about just like not having a direction, not having a identity of who you want to be has just murdered this team really since the Rooney Acosta era. That there's been no single direction that this team wants to go. It's just finding out in all these different directions. It felt like every person that in there had like their own pet project. It's honestly a lot like how the White House is being run right now. It's like everybody's kind of in charge of their own little thing, and there's no real central direction. So it all just feels very chaotic, and that's how DC United has felt. So I mean that's 50% for me because I think that leads to I'd say 30% of the utilization of the academy oath to per the pipeline. They're just not doing enough They're not doing enough to utilize that, and they should be doing. They should be doing to utilize that. And then I guess that leaves me. I got 10% the roster and 10% coaching. Those are all just, in my opinion, symptoms of just kind of the lack of ownership. And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna throw Lesane. I'm not going to throw Lesane into the boat of Rooney and Losada as a poor coach.
Yeah, I would say he's got some room in the boat. He's ahead of both of them by a good stretch.
And we go back to last season. This is the problem. I think someone brought up. I think they brought up I forget whether it was the caller or someone brought up. If we were seeing, even if the results weren't there, if we were seeing something, and we saw that last year, early in the season, we saw, hey, the results aren't there, but this is fun. Like we look. It looks like Benteke scoring goals. We're dangerous. We're generating all these chances. We're putting together these moments that make things exciting. It certainly is a lot better than we thought. It started out that way this year as well. Kind of like started like maybe a continuation. They were generating chances, just unable to finish. But this season is just kind of like grown stale. I don't think this roster is Lesane's fault. I am really hoping, if there is one thing that I think would be good out of this, is honestly if they kept Lesane. You just can't look at this, and this leads into Jacob's question, which I think I'm going to jump right into. It says, finished watching the RSL game, and it's hard not to be depressed. This is from our Discord, by the way. The team looks listless on both sides of the ball. No creativity, acres of space for opposing teams, forwards to run, and absolutely no one on offense that scares anybody. I don't think Fry and Troy would do anything. The team lacks talent. I don't think Pep Guardiola could get these guys to win. And I would agree with that. I'm gonna get to his question, but I would agree. I mean, you cannot expect this type of player, this type of these types of players. There's not enough talent on this roster. They are completely up against it every single game, and it's mostly about the players. We're already getting into these questions, so you know how good the season is going. The season ends today. What players would you keep for next season? Barrage, for me, for Jacob, it's Baraja, Schnegg, Herrera, Peglo, Benteke, Gavin Turner, Tubbs, and Kojima. Maybe Antley. I'm sure he's on a cheap contract. I'm going to go on a limb and say I don't think Benteke should be back. I think it is absolutely time to make a clean break from Christian Benteke. Looking at the fact that he has been hurt this year, he's been a lot more error. He's been hurt. He's had his moments. He's scored some goals, but at this point, he's 34. I think you got to look at making a clean break from this at this point. Any of the other players? I guess I kind of agree with most of his list. I would throw in. I'll throw in Matty Peltola. I still want to see maybe more once he comes back, though he might have a foot out the door. I still think there's some good there that can be sussed out with a more talented roster. Antley's on a cheap contract, yeah. So I'd say sure, let's have him back. Anyone else on that roster? Anyone else that you're maybe missing there?
I wouldn't care if they got rid of everybody. I would not lose too much. The problem is also that a lot of these players are on extended deals, so there's not going to be as much turnover as you hope or think on this roster for 2025, 26. I would say probably like a third. You've got about a third of those guys on 1-year deals or something you can move. But
yeah, the real problem is going to be. The real question is going to be if they do gain in that elite talent, because like you said, the team lacks talent, and I'm like, well, they lack 2 DPs, so they're going to lack talent everywhere across the field. If they fill those spots and those are hits, you'll be surprised at how many players you thought were waste of space, maybe not that great, and how much they step up. So
it's about also what's expected of them. Like, what if Kojima was not expected to start every game?
Exactly,
and he could play exactly in the position you wanted to play. We had a chat question: do you think Pelto will be back? I think it's possible he does not want to be back. We don't know. Who's to say? But I think it's very possible that he is like, this is not the step forward in my career that I would hope it was going to be when I moved over here. I'm still starting for the national team every game possible when I'm healthy, but I bet it's very possible. He's like, I could come back over to Europe and play Conference League or something, Europa League. That'd be fun.
I think the first sign that maybe there's going to be a parting of ways in the summer is the fact that he is over in Europe. Though I guess in one sense, I think he might be back by the by the time the games pick up again. I have to look at how long that tournament runs. I don't think Finland are expected to make a run. He's at the Youth Euros right now, so he was not there this week. I think that I don't know. At first, I was like, "Oh, he might be gone," because how many games is he missing? And then I completely missed that there's a 2-week break. So maybe reading too much into it. He was getting starts, and I will say in a moment against Cincy, he looked really good. So, and then he was gone for the games, the 7-1, the 2-0. So I don't know. I think it's a bit up in the air. I think maybe let's see how once he comes back, how the next few weeks go. Are there any talks of sales? They could look to sell him. I mean, they would get some money for that. They did sign him on a free. Yeah, they'd sign him on a free, and he does have some value. So he's one of the players that could make a move.
No one else really. not a lot of other players on that roster. You think, we could make a turn of profit on that guy. Do you have more questions?
I think the only one we have less. Well, Slide Tackle 84 says, look at the Silver Line. DC is currently above for the wooden spoon. That said, which fan base do you think has it worse, or is it a mirage given a decade of aimlessness in this organization?
Montreal has it worse.
Yeah, Montreal. I mean, Montreal definitely has it worse. They are an organization that is completely just out in space. No, like rhyme or reason. Like Toronto, the investments there. Galaxy are just dealing with the fact they won a trophy.
This is a blip.
Broke everything. KC still, I think, have a semi-committed ownership. I think KC are a bit in our shoes, to be honest. They are an organization that is trying to find their sort of new identity. They Peter Vermees there for so long. Now this is kind of the reset. St. Louis, our expansion team. Atlanta will be back. They're struggling right now, but they'll find a way to put it together.
Money solves a lot of your problems in life, so they'll be okay.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, we've not had Didier Drogba though, so Montreal has us there. I mean, we had Wayne Rooney. We had our Didier Drogba. I guess I would say we're more alike than we are different, but I would still say I'd still rather be us than Montreal.
Yeah, I would still very much rather be us. It's crazy as that sounds. Would still rather be us than Montreal.
There are not too many teams I would rather us be than them, but they're on the very short list of maybe 2 teams.
All right. Anything else we got before we close out? Spirit 2-0 loss. I don't know how much to really glean from that game.
Jonah did not make it to that game. His wife had their baby, so congrats to him. I think that's his last game, right?
I believe so. I think it's definitely close. They're definitely going on I think there's a little bit of a break now. There's a break for everybody coming up. I guess they
roster's getting. Go ahead.
They will play next week, and then they're on their break.
Roster's getting healthier. Still need, I think, Ashley Hatch to come back. Still really would be great if Trinity Rodman would come back pretty soon. That would be great. Mm-hmm. That would be the spark this team maybe needs a little bit. But still, the team that was their first road loss of the entire season. I think they were 5-0 before that, so that's crazy. So the team's still floating around while they figure out what they're going to be now with a old new coach and a roster that is slowly becoming healthy. And it's going to take a while too for those extended absences like Roy Bethune to really be firing on all cylinders. Lacey Santos still out, so there's still big pieces missing. But basically, whenever they patch a hole in the boat, another one springs right now. So they need to just get healthy, take this break, and then come back with all their parts.
And they've looked much better. I said at the beginning of the show, I said this team is really missing some of those early type parts of the season where they just looked kind of like they were unable to really control the match. This game, I think they really weren't in much control. Portland was all over them. So I mean, chalk it up to maybe an off game for them. But it was just interesting when as soon as Al Hirschfeld comes in, they suddenly look a lot more dominant in the center part of midfield. So definitely good to have her back in the game. And like I said, Bethune is also dealing with, I feel like a lot of players, maybe, she played a little bit with Kouassi, but also a lot of players maybe she hasn't been comfortable with. And we saw last year, it took her a minute to kind of sort of build in this season. So I'm hopeful she stays healthy. She hasn't really had a moment that's kind of like her back moment, I guess. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as we get there. And we're going to heading into one more game and then a break till August 3rd. So there's going to be a whole month off. So expect the return of hopefully of Trinity Rodman and a lot of those players. So All right, folks. I think that's going to do it. Thank you guys.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll catch you guys sometime down the road. I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks,
10 weeks.
Once the team wins a game, vamos.
Yeah.